Oh yeah. Okay, one more time with this video, Nikki. I've been trying to get this done. I'm having a hard time because my video capture software's been acting up on me again. So this is going to be a little bit briefer. Sorry. The enemy is going to be the boss. The first boss is going to be a squid-like enemy. It's going to be very almost straight out of the Matrix. These Sentinel guys from the Matrix. We're obviously not going to do as many tentacles. That's pretty ridiculous. But I was thinking an enemy that kind of looked like this, inspired by the Matrix, and also within our own gameplay as well, or what we have going on. Sorry, I just deleted a whole bunch of the stuff that I had pulled because I thought the video was done, and apparently not. So, I was thinking kind of using like this as a jumping off point as well, as kind of like the face, if you will, and then having the tentacles around it, but also incorporating a cannon blaster right where my mouse is. So if you could somehow seamlessly, find a cool way to have, something that looks similar to this, it obviously is going to look different and unique, and then have it come to like a cannon point at the end. I'm going to do 3 animations for this. I'm going to do move, or it's going to be move and shoot is going to be one, and then there's going to be one that's just shooting, and then there's going to be a rage mode animation. So this movement one, it's going to have the 4 in it. It's picture the movement like a squid. I want it to basically be like these, the legs are going to get hunched over like this, and they're going to kind of move up and down, up and down, up and down, kind of like a squid moving. And do your best with the movement. I know it's going to be very challenging, this piece. I know it's definitely not going to be very easy at all, because there's a lot of round edges. There's not many straight lines. It's, so I'm not gonna get picky with like it having to look like a fluid octopus leg or tentacle. These just need to kind of go up and down, and I can create, basically the AI on this is gonna home in towards the character and then jerk back. It's gonna be a lot like the spin flame enemies that we have and the homing missiles, except it's gonna jerk back a lot more. And then it's always going to be shooting a bullet out of here. So I'm going to be creating a bullet out of this guy's mouth, basically like every 1.5 seconds, just to make sure that the player is engaged. So the animation would be like these moving up and down, and then these cannon blasts. There's going to be cannon blasters on the ends of his tentacles as well. Those won't be doing anything. Those won't be firing off in this animation, but the mouth one will. So it'll be like up and down movement with all the legs in unison, and then the cannon blast going off, all in one animation. The second animation is going to be shoot. So basically what's going to happen is the AI will distance itself from the player a little bit and then become stationary, and then his legs will spread out fully and then kind of retract back and forth, almost like, since it's like a tentacle, I feel like we don't have to like bend it like a leg. We can actually have it retract into itself, since it's robotic, and make it look like a shotgun. So it would kind of go like in and out, not all the way back, maybe just like halfway, and then come out and then blast, so it'd be like boom, 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 and all of these will be in unison, boom, 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 in and out, and at the zenith, at its height, it'll create the blaster, which is when I'll create the bullet. And also at its zenith too, you can make this blaster go off as well. So I'll be creating 5 bullets at once, and I'll probably loop this 5 or 6 times quickly, so I can create a whole bunch of bullets to engage the player. Then once this enemy gets into 25% health, it's going to go into rage mode, and it's going to actually turn a lot like into the spin flame enemies that we currently have. The head's going to stay stationary. It's not going to move. But if you had any kind of like, I don't know what you're going to do in here as far as the textures go, but if you did like some kind of like visor or like laser beam in here, like in rage mode, it can turn red. Like we can change the dynamic of the way this guy looks to make him more menacing. Hell, if we had some kind of lighting or something in the tentacles, those can turn red at this point too. Basically this is like, it's the last ditch effort. This will trigger when it gets to 25% health, and it won't do anything else except this animation. It'll get very aggressive. So basically what's going to happen is the head will stay stationary, and then these legs will extend and stay extended, and they will not go back and forth, but they'll spin. Everything will spin on a dime. The head won't spin though. It'll stay stationary, and everything will kind of spin around them, and the blasters will go off as well, I don't know, once every revolution or so. Basically, I want this thing to be homing in on the character and shooting bullets out all the time. You know, I have to make up for the fact that we don't have any common enemies in this scene, so I got to make sure that this boss is engaging for the player. So, and the blasters on its mouth will be going off as well. So it'll be creating bullets just everywhere, and it'll be aggressive and homing in on the character. So, I mean, here's your inspiration for these pieces. This guy here is definitely, you know, good inspiration, and then we're going to have this guy with the cannon for the face. And sorry, this is a little shorter than it probably should be, but I've done this is like the third time I've done it, and I'm just like running out of time here. And let me know if you have any concerns or questions or what your thoughts are on this. But this should be a really cool first boss. I know I said I was going to do some bosses that were like multiple different actors, and we're going to get into that. But this one is just going to be a standalone sprite. Oh, and the big thing with this is the size. So, you know, I was thinking this image here is like 128 by 128. I'm thinking that the face for this guy can be, you know, this size or maybe even a little smaller. But obviously, you know, when it's fully stretched, it's going to be much larger. So I was thinking maybe like if his face was a little smaller than this guy's, and then you got fully stretched out with this scale, maybe we could work at its highest. We work with the transparency for this character at like maybe 250 by 250 or 225 by 225. And one thing that I really wanted to discuss with you, because we haven't discussed this, it hasn't been an issue in the past, is using the same amount of transparency space for all three of these animations. And what I mean by that is, you know, this animation is much smaller than this guy because, you know, he's hunched over, and when he spreads out, he's much bigger. But we need to make sure that every single frame is working within its own, within the same size transparency. This way I can, and centered, which means like this face will be centered within those sizes of transparency. Basically, so I can switch animations from this one to this one to this one, back to this one, back to this one, with it all being seamless. I'm not sure if you're already aware of that, or you think I'm an idiot for even, mentioning that, but I have dealt with artwork in the past that where guys crop all this out really tight, and then they'll go to this one, and then they'll crop this one out really, really tight. And then when you go to switch from this one to this one, the character's position jerks all the way because it's not centered. Just to give you an example quickly, it's what we kind of did with the hero. You can see all of these. See, so his regular fly animation. See this box of transparency, and he's centered within that. It's much larger than it needs to be because some of these dashing ones ended up becoming pretty large and kind of started poking down towards the end. And, we ended up just resizing into a nice big block of transparency and then centering the hero on all of it. So you can see how everything's got the same exact, every one of these animations has the same exact transparency frame. And that way I was, and then he's centered within that. And, you probably even knew that, but like I said, I have dealt with artwork in the past where it hasn't been like that, and it's extremely frustrating to work with and change the frames from seamlessly. So anyway, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, man. I think this is going to be a really cool boss, and it's a start. I've got ideas for the next ones. Let me know if you have any questions. Sorry to be brief with this, but like I said, I've done this a few times, and I have no more time I can't do the video again. I hope this works. All right, man, later on.